party people, welcome back. I'm Nat at Mud Magic. Thank you for joining me again for another session on Stevie the Wonder Wheel. I guess you guys knew this was coming because if you saw my last one, I got all these rollers from MKM, so of course I'm going to use them. And I didn't even think until I pulled my first cylinder, oh, why aren't I videoing these to show you guys how I do it? So I at least stopped before I started doing the important part. So I have prepped my cylinders. So I've just put newspaper around just any kind of packaging cylinders that you have. Wet the bottom because you don't want, like, you want that to be soft in the bottom of your pot. Put it in there. Actually, I might use the thicker one for this one. Not that it's too much difference, but might as well use it while I can in case the other ones are thinner. So wet the bottom, put it in your cylinder, and as you can see it's got heaps of space around it, so you just collar it in. Right up. To hold on, that's why you put the newspaper around. You'll see in a minute why I do that. Okay, and that's a bit lumpy bumpy from my fingers, so I'll just put a bit over it. Smooth it out a bit before you use the roller. Right, now I'll get rid of that clay on the wheel because you want to have it nice and a nice start to it. And then you've got to decide which roller you want to use. That's the fun part. Well, no, it's all fun. So I am dying, as I told you, to use this one, so we're going to use this one first, which is the sunflowers. But because it's so big, I can just do one roller around and it will be done. So I soak them in water first, and then you just literally, this is why you have this thing, so that you're not distorting your cylinder too much, and then you'll be able to see it before I do. Roller it around. Till you get back to the beginning. So I probably should have taken that off and washed out the clay and kept going, but I just wanted, first time I've used it, I just wanted to see what would happen. So then we have the sunflowers. So then you want to take this out. If I can get it out without removing the paper, just so I can use it again, I will, but I probably won't be able to. Just sort of twist it. Did. Hey. I don't think I've ever been able to do that before. So as you can see, it's a bit of a mess. So obviously you can't touch the outside now because you've got your pattern on there. So I'll just get my needle tool. Oh, I just tore it. That's because I didn't take the newspaper off, but that's okay because I've got room. So we'll cut off down here below that tear. So I'll show you on the next one how to actually, well, you just take paper off, but it solves that from happening. Okay, so now we want to try and shape it, but obviously you can only shape it from the inside, because if you do it from the outside, obviously you're going to lose your pattern. Kind of belly it a bit. And then in the bottom, because you've had that cylinder in there, it's a bit messy, so I'll just clean that up. Just so all you do is just compressing it, just to flatten it out again. Okay, so a bit of a bulge there, one sunflower bulge. Do whatever you want. Now you are going to lose it a bit on the rim, because obviously you want to make a nice rim. You don't want it to be thick and blobby like that, so I will lose my pattern on the rim a bit. Bring it back in a bit. Alright. So then I'll probably just put a celadon on these to start with. Probably marigold mixing tea, because you know I don't like full marigold. So that's that one done. Let's get rid of the mess at the bottom. Trimming them is great because you can't really trim the walls or anything, so it's easy to just trim the bottom. So that one I probably could have, well, I definitely could have pushed harder for the texture to get better texture, but first time using it, you just gotta try these things to know how much pressure they need. But I still love it. I'm still gonna be interested to see. And then even with the handle, you can put rollers down the handles before you attach them as well. There's the sunflowers. So that's probably the best bit there. I might make that the thumbnail. Okay, so I have a few prepped because I have some different rollers that turned up. I've actually got, I think, 4 different rollers, and I've still got 3 now that I was able to save that cylinder with the newspaper without having to make you wait while I put more newspaper on. I have still got 3 cylinders to use, so just quickly. So I watched something recently on YouTube where the girl that was throwing said always, she didn't explain why, but she said always cone up 3 times. And I thought, well, I never cone up. I don't know. My clay is new out of the bag. But since doing it, it's made a huge difference. I found that centering is heaps easier. And obviously it gets out any air bubbles, but yeah, so I recommend it. I don't know why, I don't know the science behind it, but it seems to work well for me. Alright. So as I've said before, I always like to use the 2 thumbs. It holds my hands. I like having my hands connected. Holds it. Holds everything steady. Stops you pulling it off center, hopefully. And then compress the base. It's a bit wobbly. And then the first one, even with so small, is more about evening the walls out rather than pulling. Always compress your top like that. All right. A bit of water in the bottom there. Now you want to try and keep it collared in quite a small cylinder for this as well, because as you saw before, when you put your cylinder inside, you want to you've got to sort of squish it against the cylinder anyway. So you might as well start with a smaller cylinder. And then you want to try and have a straight cylinder for the roller. Straight walls. So obviously when you run the roller on it, you don't want throw lines or anything like that. You want your pattern to show, not the throw lines. So I'll go back to using this one this time. Just re-wet it a little bit. And that's a much better fit than the last one. So then you want to squish it against it. Hold it in nice and tight. And then decide which roller you want to use. I'm kind of doing them in order of what I want to see, not necessarily favourite, because I like all of them. But I really want to see this daisy print one. Little, well, I don't know if daisies, little flowers and swirls and leaves and things. So I already have a handle from a previous roller that I bought, so they all should fit. The whole should fit. I don't know, I haven't tried. Yep, it's a bit tight, but yeah, so it just fits. All right, so with these you can go up or you can go round. So I'm going to go up because I want to go the whole way. So you're going to push it, whoop, hold it. See, it's not rolling very well because it's such a tight fit. That's a shame. So maybe that's the wrong roller, the wrong handle for this roller. Kind of hits the edge of the handle. Anyway, you go around. And then that's where you can re-wet it because it's starting to get a bit sticky. Oh, holding the handle again. You also can too, and I should have just stopped before you get to the rim, because you're going to lose that rim pattern anyway when you do your lip. Last little bit. There we go. Take that out if I can, because I'll be able to use that for the other one, because the other one's a smaller roller. Okay, so then you've got your little daisy print, whatever it is, and a ripply. I actually don't mind that ripply rim. It'd be good for like a vase or something. Okay, so this is what you should do with these. So you kind of like, instead of taking the paper out, you unroll. Oh, well, that one came out nice, or almost nice. A bit smushy. But sometimes when you do that, because you've wet it all, your newspaper stays inside and then you've just got to pick it up and you can roll it and pull it out. So I only had the tiniest little bit stay in there. That's all. I think, yep, that's it. So normally you pull the middle out and you've still got the big thing of newspaper, so you twist it and then you pull it out if it sticks against your clay. But if that happens, I'll be able to show you. Alright. So again, I almost don't want to cut. I don't think I'm going to cut that room off. I actually really like it, but then it's not practical. I really want to leave it, but I'm not going to, because you won't be able to make a mug out of it. It wouldn't be practical. Alright, we'll cut it off. Could make a little vase out of it, but anyway, done now. And then shape it. And then clean up the bottom here that's gotten a bit squished from the roll. Which when you bring that in, I'm not worried about the pattern because I'm going to do this anyway, which is going to get rid of the pattern at the top anyway. Which is why I was saying you can actually stop rollering a bit lower. So you can see the room's gone wonky again anyway. So you can kind of cut it off again if you want to. But it is hard with these to get a perfect rim, or pretty much impossible unless you stop your roller. So I might do that on the next one. I'll show you what I mean. Alright, that was cute. Maybe that one will be my thumbnail. So because you can't trim them, you want to really like have a look at your shape and make sure you're happy, because you can't trim the shape. Maybe bring that out a bit more. So they're a bit hard to have a beautiful perfect shape too. So when you glaze them with Celadons, it brings the pattern out better, you'll see. I'm thinking sky on that one, maybe. Of course my brain says rainforest, but rainforest, being a darker Celadon, doesn't necessarily show texture that well unless it's deep. Maybe it'll be good on the sunflowers, they're a bit more prominent, but we'll see what I decide. Probably something completely different. Maybe I'll put like soft red at the top and weeping plum at the bottom. I don't know, but you won't see the texture with the soft red. That's why I say weeping plum at the bottom. Alright, let's do another one. Sorry, you know I don't edit, so this will not be sped up, which I actually think is good. Sometimes when you speed things up, it's not, you don't really learn, and you kind of think you have to do things faster than you do because it's sped up. Okay, so I'm probably starting with a smaller puck, whatever you want to call it, because of wanting the smaller cylinder. If you're looking, wondering why am I doing such a small tall puck, that's why. Whatever you want to call that blob of clay. No, it has a technical name. I always call it a puck. Alright, first one is about bringing it in and evening out the walls. Alright. And just so you know, this is not how I do a normal mug. I don't normally cut all this away until the very end, but because you want a straight wall, that's why I do it at the beginning. You can always use a needle tool to get rid of that. Okay. Now the other thing I was just thinking that I might just show you now while I'm thinking of it, when you're buying your rollers, you really want to think about what end result you want. So I wanted, with the Celtic knot, this one, I wanted the opposite. So I really wanted to have inward texture, so I could put underglaze in, wipe it back, and then put the Celadon over the top. But they didn't have it. They only had this one, which, because it's inward on the roller, it's going to give you outward texture. So all the ones I'm using today are inward, because all my new ones are inwards. But I'll see if I have one to show you what I mean. These are all in my Winnie the Pooh tin. These are all my rollers. Yes, I do. So the very first one I've looked at, oh, I love that heart roller. Isn't that pretty? The very first one I have looked at, I've got a couple, is this Daisy one, which I love too. So see how it's outwards. So when you push it in the clay, you're going to get inwards texture. So you can then put underglaze and wipe it back. Whereas these ones are the opposite. So they're inwards, you're going to get outwards texture. See? So you want to think about what end result you want. Sometimes they give you the option. With the ones I bought, they didn't have an option. So I get, with the ones we're using today, oops, I'm getting outwards. So I can't flood underglaze and wipe it back, unfortunately. So anyway, just thought that was a little thing to look out for. I might use this one again. Use this same one I already used. Never used it twice, so hopefully it won't disintegrate too much using it twice. nice. So always try and squish from the bottom up too, so that you're not getting air bubbles in the bottom, not trapping air in the bottom. I just pushed that whole thing off centre. Somehow, that was clever. I don't know if you should do that, but anyway, hopefully it'll stay on the wheel. Alright, so fatter at the bottom. So what I'll do, so when I'm gonna try to avoid the rim, I put a line here with my thumb, just so that it reminds me to stop there. So I'll use this one this time. So this is the freebie that MKM sent me. It's very fine, so I don't know how it's gonna go. It's just like leaves. Yeah, it's all leaves. Oh, it's pretty, I like it. Now, which way to go? Maybe I'll go round this time. Let's see what happens. And the other good thing is to push the whole way up the roller. To make sure you're getting your texture all the way up the piece, up and down the piece. And I don't like taking it off because you've got to reline it up, but it was getting really sticky, so hopefully it'll be okay. That kind of was a bit silly because that negated what I said that I wanted to show you about going up to that line. So maybe I'll just stop with the single. It's all newspaper coming off on my hands because I've already used it before. Alright, so then actually that will do as a one time, and that came out again. I've got a bit of newspaper in there this time. Just try and pull that out. And the good thing is as well with these, if you don't like how your textures come out, you can always put a rib over it. There we go. Ah, it tore. You can always put a rib over it and start again. Put your metal rib over it and go again. I can't get that out. Anyway. Alright. So yeah, that texture, as I thought, wasn't very successful. I got a big bump there. So because I've got quite a huge oak bit there for the lip, I'll just cut them off. So how are we gonna shape this weird one? You've got a big belly on one side. Alright, that's a bit of a weird one. Okay, so it's not very successful, that one. I'll just cut that off. No point in having all of that with no texture, that would just look weird. Yeah. It's better. Okay. So I've still got some newspaper in there that I couldn't get out, but it'll burn off in the kiln, or I will get it out when it dries. It'll pop out. It'll come out a lot easier rather than sitting here fiddling with it. Whoop. Okay, And then try and clean up inside on the bottom. Okay. So yeah, that one wasn't happy right from when I put the cylinder in and kind of, I think I kind of dragged it off center. Well, I think I dragged it off the wheel. I think it actually moved on the wheel because it was centered before that. That's why it's got the big belly. It can just be a wonky mug, a wonky mug. We'll see. Oh, we can just chuck him in the recline. Because the actual texture, as I thought, I don't mind it, but it's just really thin. You can hardly even see it. Almost looks like spider webs. It might be alright to then put some butterflies or something on it. Maybe use it as a background. I've got a whole heap of glazing to do after this, so everything's sort of in the way. I'm slowly getting enough mugs for a big mug kiln. Hopefully, that's my plan. Alright, let's do one more because I really want to do that Celtic knot. Alright, so I've got one cylinder left with newspaper on it, so I'll do one more. So you can obviously do it without the cylinder if you want to, but it really distorts. It's not as good. Distorts your pop heaps. Always keep your clay really slippery. Which obviously you can use slip as well, but the Keen 6 white that is my general go-to clay is a really hard clay, so it likes having a bit of water added to it while you throw. Makes it easier to deal with, especially if you're throwing large. Oh, trying to center this clay large is not fun. If you threw a large bowl in the 33 buff, which is slightly groggy, it's not very groggy, but it's got grog in it, and it was so much nicer. It's a softer clay, it's centered nicely. Unfortunately, it's brown, and you know me and brown. So you will see that come through the kiln. one I'm just going to do the last roller that I got from MKM, which is the Celtic knot. Very short. What I want to do is, I think I might just do it top and bottom. So maybe I'll do it without the roll, without putting the thing inside. Let's see what happens. So this one will definitely work with this handle. It's a lot smaller. So if we actually, I might just push, because I'm not. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Should do it top as well. Why not? Probably shouldn't. I actually really like that. Let's just do it. Being the first time I've used it, why not? There we go. And then put a lip on it. Belly it a bit. Really like that. Oh. But it's probably because I've been wanting one for a while. So yay. Alright, so now that I have an extra piece of newspaper, I'm going to do one more. And I might use one of my old rollers. I really like that. I can't wait to see that one done. Where did I put that in there? Off the bat. And I'll do one more, but I'll do the opposite roller. I'll show you what I mean, the inward one. And then if it works, I'll be able to show you when they're glazed and come out of the kiln. Ah, it's got too much clay on it. Better. Okay. So cold here today. My husband was saying it's actually snowing in Orange at the moment, and that's out west from us. It very, very, very rarely snows there, like maybe once every 5 to 7 years. So when it snows that close to here, that's only a couple more, no, 3 hours away from here, it makes it really cold here. So it's really cold. base. And then bringing in and evening out your walls. So, as you can see, when I throw the same way every time. So find your way, tweak it, play with it, modify it, and when you like it, just use it over and over and over and over and over, and you hopefully, the theory is, get better. That's my plan. Downside to my hair, I molt like crazy. It gets in everything. All my pots have a piece of my DNA in them. You can clone me one day. Yeah, that's very dry. Alright, so the only reason I didn't use the cylinder last time was because I knew I was only going to do that like 1 or 2 rounds with that Celtic knot. So when you're going to use a full roller, I always use the cylinder. Alright, and then the last one, and a bit of a fat one, so hopefully it'll fit. At the bottom. Just fits, which is nice because you don't have to squish it in too much. Which is good. So you can hear the newspaper then. I don't think I had the newspaper quite very tight on the roll, so it kind of made it go wobbly, so that might not be too successful. Kind of put bobbles in it. Alright, and then run your thumb around here. Daisy one, which is definitely a favourite, so I might use it. Keep saying daisy, flower, whatever. So yes, that rolls really well on the handle. It was actually the one I got the handle with. Okay, wet it lots, put my thumb line around so I know where to stop. Start at the bottom, push quite hard to get the texture and stop at your line. Keep going all around. So when I'm holding the cylinder, I'm trying just to pull it towards me to pull against what the roller's doing. I'm trying not to push down on it because I don't want to push into the inside base if I can help it. There we go. So, love that one. So that, I'm 99% sure that's an MKM roller as well. No, actually it says, yeah, MKM, and the code is, well, I think it says KM, but it's 043 if you're interested. It gives you great texture because it's such a deep texture. So that, I'll show you in a sec. So then you want to get this out. So I'll show you what I mean. So you take that out, and then if I roll it that way, the newspaper's going to unroll. So you want to get the center pieces, find which way it's going, and then roll it in on itself to kind of like roll it up tighter. So I'm rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it. And the theory is should come out. There we go. And yep, it all came out. A tiny little bit left. So that is my favourite one. Wonky rim again. So I'll just like pull it up a bit, just the rim bit, just so I can cut that off, just to give myself a bit of space. My needle tool. Clean up the bottom, and then shape it. It's a bit wet. So as I said before, it can be quite hard to shape these because you can't touch the outside, but do your best. And then unfortunately, because I kind of didn't want to belly it there, but I don't want to get rid of the texture, so maybe I'll just bring that out a bit to make it consistent, so it's not going out in and out. Something like that. Put a lip on it. Might actually try and get that a little bit more even. As I said before, it's quite difficult with these. My teacher always said, when you put your handle on, just pick the worst place. Like if you've got a big bump, put the handle there, and then no one's going to be drinking from that section anyway. Kind of hides it in a weird way. Right, there we go. So last one, probably my favourite, but it is my favourite roller. I mean, I like my new rollers and it'll be fun to play with them. I'll probably do that sunflower one again now and just have more of a play with it, but I've got to put more newspaper on my rollers and so that I can start again. So I won't bore you with that, but I will show you. So, outward roller texture, So the roller is outwards, but it gives you obviously an inwards impression, so that I can now flood that with underglaze, wipe it back, and then put clear or a salad on over. I might even try and do an ombre. That'll be a bit scary. Light to dark, dark to light, whichever. So as opposed to the others that I did today, I'll just grab this one because it's closest, where they are outward textured and that one's inward textured. So you can see what I mean. You can't flood that one and wipe it back, but you can with that one. I mean, you still can, you just have to, like you do it at bisque, and then wipe it back off the flowers, and the underglaze will be inside on the non-texture, whereas that will be on the texture. So that is it. That down before I drop it. So you'll see those come through the kiln, but what I often do as well with these, and probably will do with at least some of them, is I use either of those two handle tools, so you get a straight edge on your handle, and then I get the same roller and roller up like the daisies or whatever along the handle, and then when you attach it, it all matches in, so that looks really good too. So I like doing that, and I'm sure I will. Probably not with the sunflowers because they're so big, but I'll probably do it with the little daisies. So that's it. So thank you very much for joining. Stay muddy and have a magic day. Bye.